and welcome back. Made it out here to the workshop this afternoon, and I've just been working on the wood cook stove out there because I got this piece in, a 7-inch to 6-inch reducer for the chimney, and then I just kind of got excited to get back out and work on it. So I messed around with it for maybe an hour and a half last night, and now this afternoon I'm back out here again. Yesterday I came out here with a sanding block and went over this top, and then went over it with oil, and you can see it really cleaned up nice. This stove is in really good shape, and I'm excited to get it fired up, but there's just certain steps you have to go through, and one of them is figuring out that chimney. And so today I was out last night with that wire brush too, getting the rust off of those pieces. There's two pieces that go on the back. There's that bigger one that goes on the bottom here that actually you hook the stovepipe into. It comes out as an oval, and then of course before it goes through the roof I'm going to want it to be a round. But originally it must have been oval going all the way up past right here. Because right there, that bigger piece I'm working on, that goes right there. But there's a smaller piece that goes right on that. And it bolts on there because this is where the warmer is. You would warm your food up in here, or you can put your bread up there to rise. And it's got this grate back, or it's, well, what would you call it? It's like it opens and closes. Right here, see? So you can let in, or, you know, as much heat as you wanted. A lot of these stoves, the pipe would go right up through here. Most of them, it seems like, when you look at pictures, you'll look down and the stovepipe will come right up through here and then go through the warmer. This one didn't. It's on the outside, and then you can actually adjust, and then that pipe sits tight to right here. That boiler, the air handler there, won't be on long. I know it's not that loud when I'm in here, but on the camera it's annoying. But I've started the wood stove, so it won't be on too long. But anyway, you can see here it comes out as an oval on that bottom, and then when it gets up by the warmer, this is the piece. This bolts, like here was that thing that opened and closed right here, and this is on the back side of the stove. And then the stovepipe would come up through here. There's even screws to screw it in. And let's see, there's actually 4, because this one and these 2 right here would screw into the stovepipe. And the thing is, see, this fits perfectly this round right here. Let's see if you can see that better. So, you know, you'd have a stovepipe. We'll talk about stovepipe, you know, but stovepipe would go like this here, and then when you're up, you know, 2 feet, this is supposed to fit the actual stovepipe, and like I said, it fits perfectly on the metal to metal here. But since we're gonna go, like, this is just a 6-inch pipe, so this isn't, I've just been using this because I know it's gonna turn into a 6-inch. And actually, this is about the height of where that is. It's like halfway. This is where it would sit. And even if we round that out a little better, this comes nowhere near. You see what I mean? Last night when I was out here scratching my head, because I bought this piece, you know, it was like 35 bucks, and it took about more than a week to get here. And every stove that I work with, the stovepipe goes on the inside. So that when the creosote that gets inside of the chimney pipe goes down and back into the stove, because as soon as it gets on the outside, it burns that creosote and it stinks. So I was kind of like, well, this looks like it goes on the outside, you know. So anyway, there's a few sites on Facebook that are one of them is just wood cook stoves, and there's a couple other ones that are, you know, wood stoves and wood cook stoves. And I went on to the wood cook stove and posed pictures of the stove and of this here to see, you know, what am I not seeing? And somebody come in, all of these old cook stoves, the stovepipe went on the outside. So it does go here. So that helped me somewhat, but still, and I'm going to try to get to, if I have that window behind it, I don't know, let's take a look. Well, hopefully you guys can see this. Try to move it around a little bit so you can see the light. I've got a big gap over here, probably 3/8 to a 1/2 inch, and the same on this side. You probably can't see that one because there's no light. So, I mean, I don't know if you can see that, but if I push that in, there's just a big gap. It doesn't fit tight. On the Wood Cook Stove Facebook site, when I posed this question, you know, you can go get one fabricated, which I don't want to do. I mean, it's just a stovepipe. A person ought to be able to figure that out. And some of them have taken like the gasket stuff you use on the wood stove, the door, you've seen it before, it's like ribbon. And you can put some of that in here, or the high temperature like gasket sealer that's made for wood stoves, which I have both here. I've got 3 different sizes of the rope and 2 or 3 of the containers of the high temperature stuff. My problem is also when this goes up against the actual, this part here, when this part hits against the back part of the cook stove, the part that's above it, that's the warmer, that warmer, you know, the thing that has the bread warmer and that whole back piece, you know, you can take that off the stove, but it sticks past a little bit. So it sticks over here. I have very little working room right here. So when I put this on, if I have a big gap on this side, I have to really check to see what I can do so that it doesn't hit against that warmer. I need it to, like, do I need to push this side down and then just put the thing on this side? And if so, if I'm going to do that, how do I hold that? So that's what I'm trying to figure out today. And I want to try to get this thing hooked on here. And then I'm going to switch this around because they've got this set up like this, like I would take the stovepipe and then start going over. And I don't want to do that. I would like to crimp this some more, do my work on this piece, which will be a black piece, of course, so it goes inside. So I don't have every single joint I have creosote running out. All I have to worry about it is right here. And even when I took and ran that wire wheel around here, you could see that I was taking off some old sealant. They had definitely done that before. But it was a learning curve for me, because it's like, if I'm going to do it, let's do it right. And all the stoves I've had, they've went on the inside. And one guy said that any stove made before 1975, is, I don't know if he just meant the cook stoves or whatever, they all went on the outside. And this is what that gasket stuff is. What do they call it? Replacement gasketing. Black rope with cement. I've got 3 different sizes. I have 5/16, 1/2 inch, and 3/8. And something like that would fit in here. So then when this pushes against the stove, that creates a seal there. This stuff doesn't burn. And this one here is the 3/8. I almost think that this part could use a 1/2 inch. But then you kind of have to do that up here too. I'm just not sure how I want to do that. But you know what? That would keep it a little bit away from the stove, which would gain me a little bit of room for this thing right here, for that clearance issue. And then I suppose I have to stop before the holes here. I don't know, because it's like indented here, but it's not indented up here. So I don't know what they were thinking. Maybe I just put the rope down here, a little bit of gasket sealer here, because it's flat. Huh. I'm not sure. And then here just do some sealant. I just don't want to have to do it twice. I'm going to try to slide this out a little. This stove is so heavy. And yeah, just not the right thing to be doing when you got a hernia, double hernia. But I wanted to show you guys if you can see it good enough. Let's see. See, that's where it sits. I don't know if you can see that, but you see that? I have nothing. I have an eighth of an inch there. So when this goes on, I guess I would have to put it on. I mean, it's automatically going to push it against there. But it should be... Yeah. No, I want it this way though. I mean, it works. It works just fine, but if I were to put all that sealant in here and then let everything harden and then put this on and it's sticking out too bad, you know, it wouldn't work very good. That's how it hooks up there. I think I'm just going to goop that sealant stuff in there and I'm not going to do any rope. It fits pretty tight to the metal here, even though it has that gap in there. And then I was looking, trying to find pictures. I found one picture of this stove. Actually, this is what is it? A copper-clad ranges, and they call it a copper-clad malleable range. And I looked that up and found some of their catalogs. And this stove is definitely 1920's. Couldn't get the exact year, but I found a picture of one of these stoves so I could zoom in and look, because I was figuring this is the only section here where all three of these come out, not just the two circles. And I figured that must go here. And then of course this one, which has all three of these can come out, definitely goes right here, because with this stove, when you're cooking, firebox is here. This is high, medium, low. The farther you push it this way, you know, simmer, totally high frying, you know, medium heat. But you can also pop these out and take your pan and put it right down the side, so the pan is getting the fire directly against it if you want like a quicker heat for searing or whatever. So this will go over into here, and this whole square goes over on this side. I was definitely starting to question my way of thinking. I could barely get those to fit together. I mean, it's like they have to go a certain place. I had to switch these two around. I don't know how you get in there to do the bolts on that. Wow. Does this back piece, I mean, there's a seam there, but it doesn't look like it comes off. I mean, I'm going to have to get in there to be able to put nuts and bolts on there. Well, I can tell you right now, that's not coming off. It's like it's riveted, like those hand pounded rivets. I don't know how they would have done it. I mean, you know, it had to be put together piece by piece, but they definitely were not thinking about it coming apart. And I wonder what these are for. Like, they look like they would have spun that one. I mean, they're there for something. And it's weird how top and bottom, like, did they have a thing you could hook up for hot water that would circulate? I mean, there's a water heater over on this side. I have no idea. Unless they also, I don't know. In the 1920s, were they also selling a gas version, and that's where they ran that in? Not a whole lot of information on it. Actually, posting these videos is going to teach me a lot, because there are people that know a lot more than I do about these. I'm thinking maybe this size. Boy, that's going to be tight getting a nut on there. And that's going to be rough, but it would work. The bottom will be easy. There's a lot of room on those. But the top ones are the most important ones. When it pushes it through, since it rounds, it pushes the bolt out at an angle. So that will be good for doing that nut on there. I think that will work. I think it would be best to put that metal piece on before putting the reducer on. I was going to do the reducer first, but what's the difference? I mean, that's about countertop height, perfect working height. And then I could goop in the high temperature gasket sealant, and then if it has to push in to get behind the top piece, that'll be good, you know, it'll hold it there. And I can still reach down in to get the front part where it sticks out. Still debating if I should put a little rope in there. The thing is, this hits tight. So there's really, I wonder if on top then the lip comes out, it might, oh, this hits tight. I don't think it's going to do any good to put any, I think I can just fill that up with that other stuff and we're good. I think this is where, it'd be different if they're both the same, but they're not. You know, looking at this is a big enough opening, so I'll be able to slip my hand in here and hold this. So it's not that big of a deal. I was thinking I had to get in underneath, but as long as I'll have the, you know, the nut on the outside, tighten it there, I can be able to reach in and deal with that. This stuff is good to 2,000 degrees, so that stove is never getting to 2,000 degrees. Stuff sucks to work with, though. I used to have some that was in like a caulking tube. I got this put on there. Brandon came out, and then I was just out there for probably half hour, 45 minutes in the guest house because he started taping yesterday doing the walls in that bedroom, and today was ceiling, so I had to show him how I do the ceiling. And I get more of that crap on me than I do on the wall, I think, when I'm doing the ceiling. I think this looks really good. I think it's sealed up nice. I mean, I had enough of that stuff on there. I can't tell on this very top part, but I think it's pretty good. I do see some caulking in there, or whatever that stuff is called. And now this thing has to go in. Be going this way though. It almost looks like this side is flatter. I might do it like that. I mean, you're never going to see this. Usually you would put the seam to the back so you wouldn't see it, but you're never going to see this anyway. But it does make this stick out farther. I think maybe I'll just slip that top on there and let's see what happens. It's pretty tight, but it does work. And there's still a gap, if you can see it, on the inside. Not much, but I think I am going to switch it around as long as the front and the back are equally straight, because I have to get up past this little lip right here with the stovepipe to make it to there. There's a big gap on that front that I'm going to have to fill, but that's what that rope stuff will be good for. See, that does go. Well, I can do just about anything I want, can't I? I don't want to... This gives it less of a gap in the front. I don't want to set this yet, though, until it'd be smarter for me to get the 6-inch black pipe. Because I tried to get that galvanized one to go inside of here. I couldn't really. I guess I should play around with that right now. I want to get the next pipe inside of here first, so don't have this all sealed up, and then I'm cranking on it and everything, you know, because it won't fit. Better to do that before, so then when I seal it, that gets in, this gets screwed in, and everything is solid and doesn't have to move. I will be able to get it in there. That's good. And then I'll run a bead of stuff around there before I drop that in. And that's going to go in. So this is going to be against. It's going to be like that. This will be the stove side. And from this, where it hits down here, to, let's see, actually get this thing covered in crap, 21 1/4 inches to the center screw on the bottom of the vent. 21 1/4. 21 1/4. So that's going to sit just like that there. The only thing, like, there's no real reason. If I have a screw here and here, there's 4 screws here that go into the actual stove, so it's not going anywhere. The only thing with this is, like, I could put a screw in here to make it tighter, but it doesn't. If it was tight, like, to it, the warmer would get warmer. Like I said earlier, this used to be a 7-inch pipe oval going all the way up. And the thing is, I could still do a 7-inch pipe oval. I don't have very much room above this before I got to get into the ceiling. So, and if I did a 7-inch oval, these are, you know, you got 22 inches exposed of stovepipe. So if I'm here, here's 22 inches. Well, I can't then go from the 7-inch to a 6-inch because then I'm still dealing with the same trouble. They don't have one that's like 3 feet long. So yeah, or they, you know, I could get a specialty made one, but I'm not real worried about it. I don't think a whole lot of stuff is going to be up there warming, and this will. All I really have to do once I get this in is tuck fiberglass insulation in here so that no fresh air is getting pulled in here, and it'll still warm the warming oven. And the other reason why I wouldn't do a 7-inch oval, I have to get a damper back here. There is no damper to control the fire, so they would put it behind the stove, somewhere in here. And you'll just walk back here, you know, open it up when your fire is going, and you know, die it back down once you have a good fire going. I'm going to have to put that damper. I would rather not have it way up here where you can see it. And I also, you know, I might have to. It should be above the warmer. But still, if I was doing a 7-inch all the way up here, then I put the reducer where up. We need another one to get. How does that work? 7-inch, and then it would be up here. Then that damper would be way up by the ceiling. I think I'll put the damper right above this grate here, because then the heat is still staying down below, you know, because wherever the damper is, your chimney is cool above it, cooler, and real warm below it. We're still figuring out how we're going to finish off this room. Melissa was showing me pictures, like, you know how they rip down old barns and you can get the barn wood? That would look nice on the walls. She had one, what's the place called? Don's Seafood down in Louisiana, or another one where they have like multiple color boards. Like there might be some white ones, but then there might be a blue one and a red one. I didn't like that. So, and she didn't either. We liked the white one. It almost looked like, do they still have Shabby Chic? Remember when that show used to be on TV, or on HGTV? And then they would take a board and, you know, paint it with white paint and then go over it with something so it looked old. There was some white boards on that wall that looked like that looked nice. So I don't really know what that's going to be, but I think behind it we were talking, I'll have to have that cement board for probably 2 pieces. I'll probably go 8 feet wide. I could get by with 6. I mean, this isn't, it's going to be hot over here, you know. So whatever I do, but then it'll have to be as wide as the stove for sure. And then we might put the fake field stone on there, the same stuff I'm going to do on the outside bottom of this. So then that's there, and then as you walk in, you're drawn to it. But we're still discussing that. And going through the ceiling, I want to go from 6-inch black and then do Class A going through the ceiling. I've got some back there. And I don't know if I'm just going to... Yeah, the prices for the parts that you need for them things are absolutely ridiculous. So I don't know if I'm going to get a reducer piece that goes from 6 to 10 or whatever it is, or if I am just going to run, because all we're going through is 2x6, you know, at an angle. So 6 inches above there is the top of the metal roof. I don't think there's any Didn't have any plywood on this roof either, so it's just insulation, metal. And I'm debating if I want to just run a 10-inch pipe through there and then just run my 6-inch pipe right through the middle of it and stuff it, or if I want to get the reducer. It all depends on how I hook that up. I'm still thinking about that. What exactly I'm going to do. Trying to see if there's a way to like oil that up. When I watch people cook with these, you know, you got the really super nice ones. People put brand new ones in that you know have the big glass door front. Everything is nice and smooth. But when you get the people that have the old ones and they're actually cooking with one of these, that's what it sounds like. This thing is in surprisingly good shape. I mean, it's like, oh no, there's rust, and it's just surface rust. I'm wondering if I can take and put a, like that's definitely thicker, I think, than this, but maybe not. Wonder if I can just take my little sanding block. I bet I can. Run a sanding block on that, and then, you know, like I said, I just put cooking oil on here. I noticed when I was looking at this here that this piece has been painted, and it was, I mean, it looks like chrome, but it's probably nickel that's on these, because nickel holds up way better with heat than chrome does. But anyway, those two have been, and I'm I'm sure there was a reason why they painted it, so I don't want to pull the paint to see how bad the nickel is, so I'll just leave it. I guess that's just the sound of dinner's almost ready. I mean, I put silicone. I could put something thicker, like a grease on there, but it seems to work pretty smoothly. There's my little sanding block. You can see what great shape this box is in. I mean, just a little bit of surface rust. I read too that you can put oil on this too. I think that, well, I wouldn't want to put it on that side because that's right against the fire. But yeah, they said just to vegetable oil lightly the bottom of it, and they just said the inside, but everything looks pretty darn nice. The first time we fire it up, I expect to be a lot of smoke coming off of it with the oil and everything, but there's going to be smoke coming off that stovepipe horribly anyway, so going to have the door open. It's good to get that surface rust off. It'll get a little oil on there to, you know, just stop all that anyway. Okay everyone, well thanks a lot for watching. I'm going to try to keep these ones a little bit shorter, not run this a long time, and I have to get some black pipe before I really continue on that, I think. So I'll get the black pipe, we can get that installed, figure out what we're going to do for the ceiling. And it's just kind of an exciting project to bring that old 1920s cook stove back to life. I will see you guys on the next video.